Good evening. It is 3 minutes past 9 o'clock. Don't worry, you are just right on time for the latest update in the world of politics, business, and sports. And in the next 1 hour, we are going to bring you up to speed with the latest happening across the country and beyond our borders. This is the 9th day of December, the year 2025. Indeed, we have much and more lined up for you. But first thing first, our top stories tonight.
Tonight, victims of corruption. EACC corruption survey indicates that youth are hit hard by corruption. Divide and rule. Gachagua accuses Ruto of using divisive tactics to divide Mount Kenya leaders to secure his re-election. World largest rhino sanctuary. Kenya is set to increase black rhino population growth rate from 5 to 8% annually. Plus, the frontline soldiers. KU Women Empowerment urge female students to take center stage in tackling gender inequality in academic and community leadership.
This is Kutv Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Tonight, I'm not alone, most definitely in your esteemed company, but also in the company of our sign language interpreter tonight, Naomi Omboy. Remember, you can follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya. You can tweet us on X at KUTV_Kenya, at Auma Evans, the hashtag to use, State of the Nation. So tonight we begin State of the Nation with the latest. Kenya joined the rest of the world in marking the International Anti-Corruption Day with leaders, civil society organizations, and anti-corruption agencies calling for renewed commitment to ensure transparency and accountability across all sectors. Speaking during the national commemoration held at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, or if you prefer the acronym KICC, here in the nation's capital, Nairobi, officials from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission said that corruption remains one of the major obstacles to economic growth, equitable development, and public trust in state institutions. Meanwhile, Youth Affairs Principal Secretary Fikiruni Jacobs has urged young people to take the lead in the fight against corruption. He called on the youth to champion for transparency and initiate ethical change within communities. All right, now switching gears from matters graft to matters politics. Now, the fight for the Mount Kenya kingship continues to intensify, with the Democracy for Citizens Party, DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua now claiming that President William Ruto is cornered politically, just like former President Daniel Arap Moi found himself in the year 1992. Glory Kathure reports on a day that Gachagua and his opposition brigade accused President William Ruto of using divisive tactics to divide the Mount Kenya in order to secure his re-election.
Najua hii mlima iko na kula milioni 6 na vile ninaona itaenda milioni 8, na hii kula imeamua, haijaamua itachagua nani, lakini imeamua na nani itafukuza. Ruto is cornered from the mountain, from Lower Eastern, from Western, Nairobi, Coast, he is cornered. Amejipata bahali Moi alijipata 1992.
This is why now everybody anaona mulima, they are calling Gachagua a tribalist. He is not a tribalist. Which political party? Hata ya Ruto UDA ni strong Rift Valley, although imefifia sana, lakini ukiangalia Eldoret is basically UDA. Tukubali hiyo. So if DCP is strong in the mountain, does that render the party leader a tribalist?
Na tutashikana mpaka mwisho, na tutatoa mgombezi mmoja atakayepeleka Kasongo wapi? Nyumbani. Mtatunga mkono jamani?
Let's stay matters politics for a bit. Now, Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi has declared that he will spearhead President William Ruto's re-election campaign in Siaya County, arguing that the president has demonstrated genuine commitment to the region's development. Wandayi spoke during the launch of rural electrification project in Mabinju village, in South Game, as our very own Linda Nzelu now details in the following report.
Cabinet Secretary for Energy Opiyo Wandayi has vowed to lead President Ruto's re-election campaigns in Siaya, accusing some ODM leaders of double-speak.
The national government has allocated substantial amount of money kwa hii county kwa mambo ya kusambaza stima.
Wandayi criticized leaders who are allegedly trying to destroy the working relation built by the President William Ruto and the ODM party, accusing them of being selfish. He noted that currently the country has two formations, one led by President Ruto and another by the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua.
And therefore, if you say that ODM can also produce a presidential candidate, nobody has stopped you. If you want to run for presidency through ODM, go ahead. Just go ahead. But we'll be running for what purpose? Go ahead, run, and we see how many votes you can get, even from here in Siaya. Yes. If you want to run for president under ODM, please go ahead.
According to Wandayi, you are either with President Ruto or with Gachagua. On his opinion, the entire region is fully behind the president.
It is for the first time the national government has allocated substantial amount of money kwa hii county kwa mambo ya kusambaza stima tangu tupate uhuru. In this financial year, rolling off from the past one, this county of Siaya has been allocated 2.2 billion shillings for purposes of extending electricity.
Elisha Odhiambo, who is also a member of the ODM party, hailed the government for its efforts to uplift the locals. However, he castigated a section of Nyanza politicians for undermining other leaders appointed by the president.
There's a lot of politics going on in Nyanza. I want to encourage, especially the people in Auma Bay. When your own son is employed by government, you should be the last person to be looking for the son to be removed. Even here in Siaya, and I mentioned it yesterday, during the elections of governor, all Game people voted for me. But majority of Game people voted for Gumbo.
As political alignments in Siaya continue to shift, Wandayi and Odhiambo are among ODM leaders insisting that the region is firmly behind President Ruto. This unfolds amidst escalating tensions within the ODM party as it positions itself for the 2027 general elections.
Ya kwamba maendeleo yakitekelezwa nchi ya Kenya sehemu zote zishughulikiwe.
Linda Nzilu, KUTV.
All right, thank you, Linda Nzilu, for that comprehensive reporting. Now, meanwhile, the Reformation Community Kenyatta University chapter today concluded the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence with a leadership forum at Kenyatta University, urging female students to claim decision-making roles and tackle entrenched gender inequalities in academia and community leadership. Edna Nerea reports from KU's main campus.
Gender-based violence.
The Reformation Community KU chapter today concluded the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence with a campus forum, where Professor Judith Wahudo, the Director for Gender Equity and Empowerment at Kenyatta University, stressed that universities must strengthen leadership pipelines. Wahudo warned that persistent institutional gaps are slowing progress in tackling gender-based violence.
We have to look into systems, even consult people from outside to help us come up with a data sharing agreement. Now, this same data sharing agreement has been adopted by the university to use when they are working with other partners. So in other words, we are saying that you need to have a bit of resilience in what to do as a leader. Otherwise, you can ban the nation, you can ban the institution, you can ban this university if you don't.
The Vice Chancellor of the Reformation Community, Amani Maraya, assured that empowering young women is critical to overcoming persistent structural barriers. She noted that many still struggle for recognition and opportunity, urging female students to pursue leadership roles boldly and demand equitable inclusion across institutions.
And basically it's just to encourage our women, tell them that they can do it despite the factors that are affecting women in every aspect, and even considering that we are in the 16 days of activism, that is the GBV, and we are hoping even through that we can build confidence, we can give them mentorship, and yes, succeed in this space of leadership. I believe every woman deserves a space and every woman is a leader.
With this year's theme focus on ending digital forms of GBV, the Chief Executive of the Reformation Community Women's Department, Margaret Mwangi, said the organization aims to secure women a stronger political space, stressing that women need platforms to voice their concerns and influence policies that directly affect their lives.
And our main goal is to have a political spa. What is a political spa? It is bringing politics and leadership engagements in the ground level, where women can talk about leadership and things that they face in leadership at the ground level. So instead of having big platforms, instead of gossiping in salons, we have events, we have information being brought at the ground level. Yes.
The event highlighted the community's commitment to advance women's leadership, promote gender equality, and ensure lasting impact in combating GBV across campuses and communities.
I would have been rich somewhere. I would go underground.
Edna Nerea, KUTV, Nairobi.
All right. At the same time, President William Ruto has officially launched the new Savo West Rhino Sanctuary, and the new sanctuary covers approximately 3,200 kilometers squares, making it the largest rhino sanctuary in the world. The sanctuary has been expanded from 92 square kilometers. The expansion aims to reduce congestion, improve breeding, increase roaming freedom, and boost rhino population growth over long term. During the visit, the president also mentioned several infrastructure projects, including the construction of a market in the Voi area and the construction of Bura roads leading to River Magodi and Jukini. According to President, the government has introduced a modern security and surveillance system, including AI-enabled cameras, long-range communication networks, and over 300 newly deployed wildlife service rangers. All right. Now it's time to take our very first break here on the State of the Nation. Remember, when we come back, we'll be diving direct into the State of the Nation conversation, where we'll be diving into matters, a newly report that was launched by the People's Audit that detailed a lot of information in regard to education system when it comes to the state of joblessness, and of course the ballooning debt and the money that is being used to actually service these debts. They say the devil is in the details, and of course we'll be getting into the detail with my guest tonight. That is Moses Ebenzo, a political analyst, who will be joining us later on to bring us up to speed and to give us the perspective of this report. And on top of that, remember, the IEBC held a stakeholder engagement with both the winners and the losers of the by-election, and in it there were arrays of issues from voters' apathy, especially among the young people, to the mistrust, and of course the issue of goons hired by politicians. Well, that is a conversation that we'll be having later on with my guest. But first thing first, let's take this very short break. When we come back, plenty more to follow.
Transforming through technology, innovation is not just our pursuit, it's our purpose. At Kenyatta University, we lead through research, powering ideas that shape industries, communities, and nations. Our partnerships span continents, connecting visionaries, scholars, and change makers. Here, every breakthrough has a human story. Every success begins with curiosity and grows through courage. Today, we celebrate that spirit in every graduate ready to imagine the world. Because tomorrow doesn't wait, it begins here. Kenyatta University will hold the 58th graduation ceremony on 19th Friday, December 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on Kutv and radio, YouTube, and KU website and social media. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 0208 703092 or 0786 335111, or visit the KU website at www.ku.ac.ke. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
Kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake nami Caroline Kimwele.
In a world where uncertainty rules and opportunities are scarce, it's time to break from the barrier and unlock your full potential.
We must live within our means. We cannot spend money that we don't have.
We will explore the fascinating world of investment, trade secrets, business strategies, and entrepreneurship.
Sasa challenges ziko mingi sana. Parking ya mzigo imekuwa mbaya. Unaweka pesa yako na kataa kurudi.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, What you covered with invaluable insights to help you succeed.
Now, this year we have seen a rebound in the economy, which is well above the global average of the 3%.
Join me, Anyango Sylvia, every Sunday and Monday on KUTV News at 9, and let's turn your dreams into reality.
I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland, and I'm the main coordinator of the Cafe project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Miti miti, panda panda. Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome.
Fashion. It's more than just clothes. It's a statement, a feeling. An art form, a way to express yourself, a reflection of who you are. It's Fashion Diaries. Join me, Ashley Asachi, every Monday from 8 p.m. as we bring you Kenya's latest trends. Imagine fashion designers, glamorous fashion events, runway shows, red carpet events, and so much more. Fashion Diaries, unleashing your inner fashionista.
Are you ready to take charge of your health? Welcome to Focus on Health, your weekly guide to staying informed and living better. Join me every week as I sit down with trusted medical experts.
Gynecology is basically a field concerned with mainly the female genitalia.
Explore real-life stories
during when the patient come in
and bring you updates and tips that are beneficial to your health. Because health isn't just important, it is everything. Tune in to Focus on Health every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. I'm your host, Kandia Marian, and I'll see you then. Kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake
ukati na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimwele.
Imagine a world where you are empowered to take charge of your health, where you are well informed about the latest advancements in healthcare and understand the policies that impact your well-being. Get ready to take charge of matters your health as we bring you a blend of weekly health features that engage professionals from across various medical fields.
When do you decide as a patient, do I need to go see the doctor? We are at a stage where we are seeing all this manner of chronic illnesses and we wait until we get a disease and then is when we go ahead.
From the most mundane to the complexities that perhaps seem overwhelming, we got you covered.
In terms of the factors that might be attributed, there are hereditary factors that means it could be genetic, so that's one factor. But there are other factors as well, like nutritional deficiencies. So some vitamins such as folate have been identified to be a factor in those. So
our mission is to break down intricate health topics into understandable and actionable insights. Join me, Yvonne Kimuma, every Wednesday 9 p.m. on KUTV's News at 9, where your health is our priority.
Mtazamaji popote ulipo, unapokuwa ukitazama Safina Show
inang'oa nanga sasa hivi. Ungana nami Albanas Mwania, nahodha wa Safina Show, nikutoe ng'ambo ya pili hadi ufuoni. Safina Show, sauti ya matumaini.
Get ready to embark on a journey into the exciting world of technology as we uncover the latest trends, interview top thought leaders, and dive deep into the world of tech like never before.
Currently, we are facing the challenge in terms of finance. It requires one to move from different counties because we really need a large data set for our model to be more accurate.
In this new and exciting series of the Technovation Show, join me, Yvonne Kimuma, every Monday 8:30 p.m. for a fun and thrilling experience as we explore the cutting-edge developments, meet visionaries driving change.
Somebody who is in the underground mine doesn't know the presence of those gases. So there are a lot of gases involved. There is methane, there is carbon monoxide, and there's also hydrogen sulfide. These gases actually, they are very dangerous and they're very toxic.
And discover the endless possibilities of the tech world.
Tunachimba hadi mizizi kukuletea yanayojiri.
So mimi naomba tu serikali yetu ya Mungu, jibarikiwe na Mungu, iweze kuteremsha bei ya mafuta.
Yanayokukumba tuna maizi, tuna kutetea sisiri. Kwa kweli ni speciali tukikupambia makala ya mwanamke mwake. Utasema hupendi mizizi ya habari. Nami Caroline Kimwele.
Transforming through technology, innovation is not just our pursuit, it's our purpose. At Kenyatta University, we lead through research, powering ideas that shape industries, communities, and nations. Our partnerships span continents, connecting visionaries, scholars, and change makers. Here, every breakthrough has a human story. Every success begins with curiosity and grows through courage. Today, we celebrate that spirit in every graduate ready to imagine the world. Because tomorrow doesn't wait, it begins here. Kenyatta University will hold the 58th graduation ceremony on 19th Friday, December 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on Kutv and radio, YouTube and KU website and social media. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 0208 703092 or 0786 335111 or visit the KU website at www.ku.ac.ke. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
Are you ready to take charge of your health? Welcome to Focus on Health, your weekly guide to staying informed and living better. Join me every week as I sit down with trusted medical experts.
Gynecology is basically a field concerned with mainly the female genitalia.
Explore real-life stories
During when the patient come in,
and bring you updates and tips that are beneficial to your health. Because health isn't just important, it is everything. Tune in to Focus on Health every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. I'm your host, Kandia Marian, and I'll see you then.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Right, welcome back and thank you for keeping it State of the Nation. And now the discussion about the People's Audit, a report that was issued by the Institute for Social Accountability in partnership with Okoa Uchumi Campaign, released a report that is a People's Audit report dubbed Hustler to Hardship. On Monday, a 32-page report blaming Kenya's economic woes on poor governance, corruption and borrowing that has swallowed public debt from 2.4 trillion in 2024 to over 11.8 trillion by mid-2025. Debt service now eats more than half of ordinary revenue, starving the health, education and counties, while scandals like 4.3 billion lost in youth programs and health care sector theft leaves services in crisis. Launched at Nairobi's Radisson Blu with opposition leaders and officials attending, the report calls for citizen-led accountability to restore the 2010 Constitution's promises amid rising cost of living. The report also lay bare the state of joblessness, strained healthcare and education system that suffers from inadequate funding. And now joining us in the discussion tonight is Moses Ebenzo, political analyst. Asante sana for making time.
Asante sana.
Right, it's good to see you. So let's jump straight away to this very damning report released by People's Audit in partnership with Okoa Uchumi. Well, when you look at the details of the report, the key pointers from the economy all the way to the corruption to what is ailing the society. Do you think we have misplaced our priorities as a nation?
Thank you so much for having me this evening. First and foremost, before I jump into the report, allow me to send my deepest condolences to the bereaved family and communities of Bumbe area within Funyula constituency for having lost their loved ones as a result of drowning. They were attacked by hippo, and because there's not enough infrastructure to ensure there's a speedboat to bring them to safety, the unfortunate had to happen. And of course that is due to lack of commitment and insensitivity of the both county and the national government, because there is a promise there that the speedboat will come, but up to now we have not yet received. It's so unfortunate. Over 60 years towards independence. May their soul rest in peace. Thank you. Now, when I dive into the OKOA report that was published in Radisson Blue Hotel, first I will start by mentioning the total public debt, which it's amounting to around 11.81 trillion. That, of course, it is out of the PPPs, which is non-sovereign debts. Now, another issue is about the crowding of the debt reserve. We have crowded the reserve to the extent that even if the borrowed amount now, it's eating into the recurring expenditure, and the social sectors, the health, the education, we tend to pay the debt up to a tune of around 52% of the revenue budget we are having, which affect the social sector like health, education. And for the last 4 years, since 2019, we find that to around 22% underfunding of the social sector, which affects our welfare of the citizens. And of course, it's also as a result of the poor governance elements like oversight by the parliament. Whistleblowing Act has not yet been made. And of course, other areas that, like the audit department, like we saw the complaint of Nancy Gatungu, which complained of the parliament. We have an article 223 there, where the executive have a loophole to get money from the exchequer without approval of the parliament. So parliamentarians become morticians, where after the expenditure of these funds, now they will just audit and confirm as to whether these funds were well utilized as per their demands, which in the event that, of course, what has been happening is that there has been a lot of corruption, and there is very little they can do. And of course, the other thing Nancy is talking about, is complaining, is they have a principle of first in, first out. When the county government, they want to access funds to spend on their budget, instead of first checking on the previous budgets, which were never paid, the pending bills. The governors and the executive, for some reasons, they end up using their excess powers, or I can say just corruption or malpractice, to ask the control of budget to pay the last bills, not the pending ones. And of course, there's a team that was formed to ensure that the governors must work on to reducing the pending bills, but of course they are not interested in that. So basically what we are saying is that for the reasons why, for the extent that wananchi now have come up to audit by their own, it explains the issues, the malpractices, the corruption, the poor governance that we are experiencing in this country, where we are borrowing a lot of funds, a lot of revenues being collected, but the citizens themselves are not feeling it. Like even the report of Oxfam report, which talks about around 125 Kenyans, around 125 Kenyans who own wealth equivalent to the other millions of Kenyans. By the time when Kibaki got into power around 2002, there was a very big gap between the rich and the poor. But somehow he managed to narrow it. But clearly you can see for the last 10 years again, the gap is widening, where around 7 million Kenyans are going deep into the poor.
And of course, we'll talk about the widening gap between the poor and the rich. And you mentioned a very important point about, the level of corruption. And this points to the fact that we have a very huge debt, 11.8 trillion, and of course, so little to show up for, or rather to account for. Does it point to the fact that we as a country, as a nation, of course, those tasked with the responsibility of overseeing this very important and critical exercise, does it point to the fact that we lack what we call proper management of economic coffers?
Thank you very much. The PMF Act dictates that any borrowed funds externally, even internally, should they be channeled to consolidated funds. That is the pot where the other funds has to do what? Has to acquire the funds, like the devolved system, the other sectors like health, the education, from the consolidated fund. But unfortunately, even this borrowed fund, like last year when we had the Gen Z revolution, there was a lot of auditing about the external borrowing and how even that funds have been utilized in this country. And we find that somehow it was some money were well counted for, but some funds were not counted for. That means it did not find its way to the exchequer, yet it still stands as part of the debt we are having, accumulation of 11.81. So it's unfortunate event that we have either deliberately, those who have been in power, they have deliberately tried to consume this money in a way that is not properly, or either through corruption, malpractice, or what, which it, of course, it has led to the detriment of Kenyans. Because economic-wise, economy dictates that in the event that you are borrowing certain funds, you should channel that fund, whether through IMF or World Bank.
All right.
They provide a system where this money has to be channeled through both physical and monetary policies that are going to be economically viable, like infrastructure, that Kenyans will be able to utilize those for infrastructure to bring their business to make some profits, and eventually will attain a higher GDP to ensure that sustainability of our internal operations, it is healthy.
All right.
That's the economic interpretation. But in the event that, for example, let me give an example. The road that was launched the other day by President Ruto from Rironi to Mau Summit, around 180 kilometer, which will cost around estimation of around 180 billion. Now, what is the economical viability? Because now that it will be a PPP, per kilometer, there will be a charge.
All right.
Per day estimation of around 20,000 vehicle passing. When you calculate, it will bring around 180 billion, which will, when we divide by numbers of years, we find that it will take Kenyans 18 years for whoever will build that road to recoup his money. Are we? And the question will be, is it economical sense to invest such money when other areas of the economy are not doing well?
Okay, that's a very important question, and let me take you back now to the institution, and in this case the parliament, mandated with the responsibility to offer oversight. When you look at the reports, especially its labor, the crisis at hand, a strained healthcare, education system, state of joblessness among the young people, and of course the economy is struggling, the widening of gap between the rich and the poor. Has Parliament actually failed in its oversight role?
This Parliament, in a sense, a reasonable mind will tell you that it has been the worst performed Parliament. Some of the legislatures have said it. Even Mheshimiwa Tindamolo said it the other day in a function, where the Speaker and the Mheshimiwa Mudavadi was there. He felt indeed they have to acknowledge the fact that that Parliament has failed. And this is for obvious reasons, that they negated the principle of separation of power. Parliament, ideally in this constitutional dispensation, it is the first line of defense in regard to national oversight, where they need to counter-check the excessive powers by the executive and find out the areas where the executive might be acting ultra-virus, and sealing and ensuring that the consolidated fund, any borrowed funds, or the prescribed budget that has been passed has the interests of the Kenyans at heart. Unfortunately, now in the recent history, when ODM decided to be in bed with the UDA government, there was been less oversight, because you understand that the so-called united opposition, they have less numbers in the parliament. And unfortunately, we have a very bad manners in parliament, where when the government sides with the opposition, the Kenyans suffer, because they normally operate as a chorus. Once somebody has said something, they will not internalize to find out what is it. For example, a good example is now they're coming up with the National Infrastructure Fund, which of course, I agree, the PMF Act dictates that the CS of finance can come up with a fund, like the infrastructure fund they want to come up with, that will facilitate infrastructural development. But now the parliament, we have a committee in parliament, delegated legislative team, that has to confirm as to whether this fund will be utilized well. But unfortunately, our parliament will not have a lot of interest into confirming as to whether the right regulation have been set to ensure the funds that will be accommodated for infrastructure will be well utilized eventually.
All right. Yeah. And I want us now to switch to another pressing issue. And still yesterday, IEBC held a stakeholder engagement with both the winners and the losers of the election. And one of the outcome of that event clearly was the pressing concern, the voter apathy, especially among the young people. There were a lot of issues on the table, including, this they call like the hired goon who disrupted most of election process during the by-election, which actually served as a precursor for what to expect in 2027. Now, let's talk about the ghost in the room, the voters' apathy, especially among the young people. From where you sit, why do you think, especially in this by-election, contrary to what many have thought, would have thought, that now this is the time for young people to marshal their number and of course turn out in large numbers and vote for the leader of their choice, given the fact that they agitated for better governance in the June 2024 Gen Z-led protest. Somewhat, I think it's almost spilled over to 2025. So do you think maybe the reason, because we are seeing this voters' apathy, could be most of the underlying factors that we don't know?
Okay. They say the arc of the moral universe is circular and it always has to tend towards justice. When you talk of an election, we must talk, we will entirely discuss about civil rights of citizens, freedom, liberty. Now, when I dive into the by-election that has just ended, when we discuss about the vote apathy, there are two things in it. History has told us in this country, by-elections, the vote turnout tends to be an average of around 40%, if not 50%. Second reason is that, like when you let's give an example, Malava, where we have experienced a lot of irregularities and violations, presidents to and subsequent to after voting. President's cases is when some vehicles were touched, people were attacked, goons were hired. So it most definitely affects those who are willing, bona fide citizens who are willing that the next day they will wake up and go and vote. But in the event that they see it, that there's a lot of violence being perpetrated by whatever angle or side of the opponent, they will tend to stay inside their houses and keep safe instead of going to the booth and vote. If I can just point out some of those irregularities that were done in the previous by-election, in regard to the Election Act, we find that around Section 55A of the Kenya's Electoral Act talks about the secrecy of the ballot. There were some cases in Mbeere where people were told, the voters were promised that in the event that you will vote candidate A, just take the pick. Once you get outside, we'll give you like 5,000. Is in violation of the Section 54(5)A of the Election Act, which can even amount to nullification of the votes. And of course, Article 81, 82, 83 up to 86 talks about the free, fair, and verifiable election. But of course, for them to amount to a nullification, it has to meet some threshold upon which it has to be confirmed the substantial amounts of votes that in the event it was not conducted, then it could have brought a different results according to Section 83 of the Election Act.
All right. Still on the fair, free, and credible, verifiable election. You know, over the past, IEBC has lost what we will call the credibility, especially among the Kenyans. And most people think that maybe the IEBC is compromised. Could it be part of the reason why we are witnessing this voters' apathy? And if you draw back in the year 2022 general election, there was a significant decline compared to 2017, especially in terms of voters' turnout. Do you think these underlying factors, the mistrust among the key institutions, the referee mandated with the responsibility of overseeing this very critical exercise in Kenyan history, do you think probably that lack of trust could be the reason why the number is shrinking each and every electioneering period?
This by-election was a litmus paper to the new IBC commissions. And they had the mandate to confirm to Kenyans their competency, their integrity, as to whether the 2027 will be conducted constitutionally, with the constitutionalism. But of course, we have seen some complaint. Like, I think there's one case which has gone to court, and the process will proceed. So I believe that the IBC has a long way to go. Because from what I'm hearing from the Malava parliamentary by-election, there must be some hiccups here and there. Probably some irregularity, probably not amounting to nullification, but there is some hiccup here and there. And maybe I can count that on because of the use of government resources, because there's a candidate who had a lot of government favors, the government candidate. So, and the kind of resources they use, some of them are just in broad daylight. You see, bribery is part of the Efficiency in Election Act. And we have, the IBC has to be very careful. Probably they even have to be very stringent and give some grievous penalties so that they show to Kenyans that these are the punishments that someone can be accorded as a result of malpractices and irregularities. So that will give a bit of hope, because there's a lot of mistrust existing as a result of this by-election and the previous IBC presidential election. Kenyans have not healed, and they believe that there's a lot of room for improvement with IBC. And I can personally say probably we need to look at the Election Act, or IBC should be well equipped or empowered to be extremely independent. Because there is no way you can be directed by someone or appointed and we expect you to exercise some independence. You have seen what has happened in our neighbors, Tanzania. You are the president, you appoint the chairman of the electoral body, and he is at your mercy. Even the security to be provided, the security has to be directed from the same executive. So somehow we need to rethink about it in Africa. We are somewhere as Kenyans, but we have the IBC has a lot of room for improvement. But I believe in the other elective posts like the MCA, the MPs, senators, the governors, IBC really tried. Their performance is not that bad in the general election as opposed to the presidential election.
All right. And even as we wind up, a pretty quick one. So far, the new registered voters as of 5th of December 2025 stands at 148,315 over an estimated figure of 6.3 million targeted new voters. Well, when you look at that margin, it tells you a lot.
Definitely.
And we have a lot to do. The IEBC has a lot to do. Do you think the magic number of 6.3 million is achievable, given the current status of, election in the country, voters' apathy, the level of mistrust from the IEBC? Do you think Kenyans will actually turn out in large numbers and register? Because the only thing the only weapon to actually electing the government that you want is by taking voters' registration card. And without that, we might just end up being a country of lamentation. But the target, do you think it's achievable?
Number one, the less registered voters who are perceived to be youths, it has attributed to the registration being done at the tallying centers that are the headquarters of the sub-county. not at the polling centers. You have to note that. Because it is very expensive for a young person without money in his pocket to board a bus or a matatu to go to the tallying center to register. That has to be noted very well. But of course, they have a long way to go. You see, it is easier, according to me, to walk to a polling station as a young person and vote the candidate of your choice, to avoid this lamentation, to exercise your direct mandate according to the sovereign power, Article 1,
All right.
instead of waiting for your parliamentarian to exercise that indirect power according to Article 94 of the Constitution. Like, let me give an example. When there was a Gen Z upheavals.
And actually, I'm being reminded that we are out of time. Sadly, unfortunately, that is where we'll have to leave it for today. Asante sana for making time. Moses Ebenzo, political analyst. Your time is appreciated.
Thank you very much.
All right, so what next? Sports news? All right, so that is the State of the Nation discussion, where we talk about matters, politics, and everything in between. And of course, tonight we were really reflecting on the People's Audit Report, a report that has lay bare the current state of affairs in the country, from joblessness to the strained state of education and healthcare. And of course, just highlighting some of the areas that the country still struggle to live up to the expectation, including the ballooning debt, and of course, amount of money or resources used to service these debts. Remember, the number is 11.8 trillion from a figure of 2.4 trillion back then in 2014. Anyway, so with that, we come to the end of our show tonight. Many thanks for the men and women behind the scene, and for all those who made this production a success. And a big salute to you, esteemed viewers, for always keeping us a company in the last 1 hour and 5 minutes or so. My good name is Auma Evans. Let's do this next week, same time, same place. Until then, do have a lovely night, and God bless Kenya.